Mr. Andrews, thank you so much for joining me today. So your work is on gene therapy, and this sounds so cutting edge, but in a lot of ways it hasn't actually made it to the forefront of medical care. Is this poised to blow up? When can we expect to see this?
Well, we're in the late stage development with three ex vivo autologous gene therapy medicines now with our partners in the Telethon Institute of Gene Therapy. So we believe we're sort of at a tipping point now where the science and technology is maturing to the extent that we think we can bring this to the regulators' attention fairly soon. Now, I always think, though, it's quite frustrating in a way because the science is usually 10 to 20 years ahead of its practical application in the clinic. But actually we're at the stage now where discoveries that were made 15, 20 years ago are on the verge of being available to patients in a more broad scale.
Where might we see these advances? What kind of diseases are we going to be able to cure or at least palliate with this sort of technology?
So our focus really, and it's really been driven by the academic focus and translational medicine application in the Telethon Institute, is really in primary immune deficiencies to begin with. But what we're expecting is to progress beyond that into lysosomal storage disorders and globinopathies as well. So we're going to be touching different body systems, different tissue compartments, and ultimately going from ultra-orphan, very, very rare diseases such as severe combined immune deficiency to more common diseases, but they're still rare, such as beta thalassemia, for example.
You work for a major pharmaceutical company, and as you mentioned, a lot of these diseases that you're starting to cure are very niche. So what's in it for the company? Why are you working on this?
The reason we're in this area really is threefold. I think the first one is that we believe it's possible to treat or maybe one day to cure patients with these severe diseases, and that's really in our DNA as a company like GSK. You know, our mission really is to help people to do more, to feel better and to live longer. So if we can, we should. The second thing really is that it allows us to research and become familiar and apply cutting-edge technologies like autologous ex vivo gene therapies in areas of very high unmet need where they're required. And last but not least, I think by doing this, it gives us a window into human biology which we can learn lessons from that may well be applicable in more common diseases. So clearly in the rare diseases and specifically the monogenic genetic disorders, the target that you're aiming for with the medical intervention is exquisitely precise. And usually that's an area in drug development where things are not as clear. And therefore, if we can understand how to interact with a pathway in a disease and radically affect the outcome, then that's learning that we can apply to other areas of more common diseases too in certain settings. And that's one of the reasons we're doing this.
So you take a sort of a narrow focus with a rare disease and then hope to have a wider application later.
Yeah, it's about learning based on something that's a clear target, that has a clear outcome, and then thinking how to apply that to other areas. There's also a secondary aspect to it, which is around the platform that you develop. So clearly all of these ex vivo autologous gene therapies have many things in common. So the cell processing is done outside of the body, the source tissue is from the patient that it's back transferred to, and the platform that we're using for the majority of the cell transduction is a lentivirus vector. So there's lots of common things here that enable us and encourage us, if you like, to build a platform around autologous ex vivo therapy that we can then apply to other areas that have adjacent applications. So for example, if we look at cancer and using T-cell modification, it's a similar type of platform, not identical, but similar, and has similar challenges that we're going to have to overcome. So we're really kind of taking baby steps along what is a very, very long pathway.
Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
I will do.